unwavering optimism, and always seeing the best in humanity. These are traits we'll look at another day. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 best Charlie Brooker moments. Before we begin, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be looking at panel show gold, telly greatness, and career highlights from the bleak genius that is Charlie Brooker. Best known to American audiences as the Black Mirror guy, Charlie Brooker has long made a name for himself in Britain as an often black-hearted, angsty comedian known for his thorough, analytical teardowns of the world around us. Number 10. Editing creates reality, Charlie Brooker's Screenwipe. Charlie Brooker has never exactly been one to accept pop culture, society, or any form of media at face value. Regularly breaking down the behind-the-scenes officiousness, backstabbery, and dullness of insider showbiz on Screenwipe, Charlie eventually turned his sights to editing.
Things changed in the early 90s when hard disk editing arrived to excite this edition of Tomorrow's World.
It's not the most exciting of entertainment jobs, and among the most thankless, but through Brooker's cynical look at the trade, we learn just how much power the editor really holds.
If we want, we can hunt through it for moments where it looks like Aisling's flirting with me, as well she might.
Here's one. Here's another one. Oh, and here's another. Oh, she bloody wants me.
After discussing how video and computerized editing allowed for the birth of reality TV, Charlie produces a fake reality show, demonstrating that heroes and villains are really whims of the editor.
We can use these techniques to tell almost any story we want. We can make it look as though Aishling's bored of me, or we can take two shots that happen sometime apart and combine them to make me look like a lecherous scumbag.
Number 9. A plea to assassinate the president, The Guardian columns. Long before his famed Black Mirror antics, Brooker was an up-and-coming writer and cartoonist, which eventually led him writing the Screen Burn and Supposing columns for The Guardian. Supposing saw Brooker's cynical mind drift into what-if territory, and sometimes rather heated waters. In one column, Brooker critiqued then-President George W. Bush and effectively suggested he be assassinated, calling for the return of people like Lee Harvey Oswald and John Wilkes Booth. Of course, this joke didn't go down well, and The Guardian ended up publicly apologising about it. Number 8. Creating Charlie Brooker's Gameswipe. Given Charlie's past as a game reviewer and with the often negative image gaming gets in the media, it was natural that at some point he'd tackle video games the way he'd analyse TV.
Video games, bleeping, blooping, masturbatory aids for emotionally crippled social outcasts, probably male outcasts, probably physically repugnant and sexually inexperienced, probably frightened of the real world, probably standing here on this very spot saying these very words to camera right now, probably me. Basically, video games are for losers like me.
Limited to just one instalment, Gameswipe did just that, using the wipe format to praise games he loved, like Wolfenstein 3D or the Beatles Rock Band, and dump on lesser fare, like 50 Cent Blood on the Sand.
50's such an unsympathetic character, such an almighty dick. I don't actually want him to survive any of the firefights. In fact, I keep making him deliberately run into the scenery in the hope he'll snag his balls on the edge of a table or something. Go on, you tit.
In typical wipe fashion, Charlie also gives us an often caustic nutshell on 90s gaming TV, and past video controversies that aged worse than 8-bit sex and violence.
These early nasty games tended to look so basic they were more like tasteless scribbles than anything else, the equivalent of a knob scrawled on an exercise book.
Number 7. Creating a touch of cloth. In a better world, this is the series that would have established Charlie Brooker on the global stage. Dreamed up as a parody of Inspector Morse, A Touch of Cloth instead became a send-up of the modern police procedural, and effectively the British Naked Gun.
Come on, Claire, stop playing games. Cut out. Step out for a minute, will you?
Created by Charlie with Daniel Mayer, Brooker and company researched the series by watching out-of-context highlights from reams of random cop shows, reeling in all the format and genre cliches in one go.
Can we get a better view?
Zoom. Enhance.
Bad earrings. Oof.
Change earrings. Okay?
In fact, the series rode the parody satire borderline so hard that many viewers actually missed that it was a comedy.
I'm sorry for your loss, miss. If it's any consolation, you really are extremely attractive.
Number 6. Mr. Fuggles, You Have Been Watching. A panel show about TV was a perfect fit for Charlie Brooker. A chance to work with and bounce off other comics, it also gave Charlie a platform to rip into what he felt were sub-rate telly offerings.
I'd love to see Miley Cyrus try and tackle something of that kind of poignancy. I don't
The goldfish died. Loser!
However, the series' highlight for many was the appearance of Mr. Fuggles, a 4-year-old furry puppet with the mental capacity of a 1-year-old furry puppet.
You know what telling off is, don't you? You know when people tell you off. Well, imagine telling off with a bomb.
In the midst of a discussion about programs like Yo Gabba Gabba and Sesame Street, Fuggles arrived to hear comics Chris Addison, Holly Walsh and Mark Watson explain big adult topics to him, in the most child-friendly way almost possible.
Okay, here's Daddy, here's Mummy, it's all over.
You're traumatising Mr. Fuggles!
Number 5. Lying about being deaf, would I lie to you? If you're quick-witted and good on camera, sooner or later, you're bound to wind up on a panel show or two. While Brooker is more likely to present a show than guest on one, 2009 saw him paired up with the musical theatre singer Michael Ball on Lee Mack's team on Would I Lie to You, and announced that he pretended to be half-deaf during the duration of a 6-year relationship.
Was by pretending to be partially deaf how you clinched the deal early on?
Are you saying I have to use pity to attract people?
I'm saying you might have used pity.
I'm not above it.
This could have gone either way. Charlie's sense of humour is dark enough that he could weave all sorts of lies, but on the other hand, his personality can morph so easily that they'd all seem believable.
Did you tell her ever after the 60s, or did the relationship just break up and you never told her?
I never told her.
Right.
I didn't tell her. I wrote about it in a newspaper column.
That's nice.
Number 4. Ignorance and Want, the Big Fat Quiz of the Year. As of 2017, Charlie Brooker has only Big Fat Quizzed once, but in doing so he retired a champion. Teamed up with David Mitchell as Ignorance and Want, the show served as a natural platform for Charlie to rip into the pop cultural misfires of the year, from Christian Bale's infamous on-set meltdown to Lady Gaga's arrival on the scene. And true to form, he was a fan of neither.
Yeah, it was a human. It was basically a human being, because, I mean, I think it's pretty upsetting if you're Christian Bale and a human walks into your field of vision, reminding you there's other people breathing your air, living in your world. So it was a guy fiddling with a light.
When the topic of Michael Jackson, the live seance, comes up, Brooker sums it up as an hour-long televised lie, proving all those hours sat on his sofa making quips to camera were hours well spent.
He got in touch with him. He didn't ask him anything about any of the allegations or how he died or anything like that. He talked a bit about his hat for 20 minutes and said that he loved all his fans.
Number 3. Charlie on Benefit Street, Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe. Leaning slightly closer to Newswipe than Screenwipe, Weekly Wipe joined the Wipe franchise in 2013, and while it stuck to the established format for the most part, its broader scope allowed Charlie to tackle everything from current events to games, movies, and of course, television.
Benefit Street is a fly-on-the-fly covered wall documentary series, a bit like Sesame Street, brought to you by the letters DSS and DWP. It follows some of the residents on an apparently notorious Birmingham street where, we're told, most of the residents are on benefit.
Sometimes those worlds merged, such as when our angsty familiar dove into the phenomenon that was Benefit Street.
Benefit Street is presented more like a sort of safari park tour through poor people's natural environments.
Charlie not only offered his sympathetic take on the poverty-stricken real-life people featured on the programme, but also cut through the heated public backlash and ridiculed the hypocrisy of well-paid, state-funded presenters ripping into the economically less fortunate.
I don't care if it's sunny, I don't care if it's raining. You need to get out of bed and get a job.
Fair enough, I'll have yours. What the f*** is it again?
Oh, the irony. Number 2. How to Report the News, Newswipe with Charlie Brooker. From fake reality shows and talent shows to tracking the unglamorous life cycle of a television programme and the careers attached to it, Screenwipe regularly saw Charlie Brooker dismantle TV completely, only to rebuild it and ridicule it from within. Naturally, when Newswipe came along in 2009, Charlie made good use of the ample bounty of new subject matter.
It starts here, with a lacklustre establishing shot of a significant location.
Next, a walkie-talkie preamble from the auteur, pacing steadily towards the lens.
Taking on the way news programmes addressed recent events rather than the events themselves, Charlie delivered a note-perfect report on how to deliver a note-perfect report.
Another bit of dull visual abstraction to plug another gap now before the report segues gracefully into a bit of human interest courtesy of some dowdy man opening letters in a kitchen and explaining how he's been affected by the issue.
Vague yet on point and alarmingly meta, the step-by-step send-up was eerily accurate and cunningly hilarious.
The final summary ending on a whimsical shot of something nearby, accompanied by a wry sign-off.
If you're lucky, a bit of wordplay fit for a king, or in other words, a regent's treat. Charlie Brooker, Newswipe.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions.
If that was my life, I'd inject heroin into my eyes, set the Lamborghini on fire, and deliberately drive it at 200 miles an hour into the first f***ing wall I saw. But Justin Bieber didn't do that, which means despite everything, he's still a pussy. I once refused to pick up my girlfriend from the station because I couldn't bear to step over a spider that was between me and my front door.
And there lies your idea, dead as a dodo's doornail, messed around, shat on and despised. Was it ever any good to start with?
Number 1, creating Black Mirror, Black Mirror. From creating fake TV listings, to writing for phone news magazine series Brass Eye, to Screenwipe, Newswipe or You Have Been Watching, there is one recurring theme in Charlie's work, a brutal but deeply intellectual analysis of mass media.
Resume viewing. Resume viewing. Resume viewing. Resume viewing.
No Brooker project better accomplishes that task than Black Mirror. Named in allusion to the omnipresent screen society relies on more and more, the series looks at the way modern and near-modern technologies affect and completely redirect our lives.
Stop or I'll block you!
Don't you dare.
No, we can talk tomorrow, just please stop!
Don't you dare.
The series exploded its way into the mainstream when Netflix ordered new episodes in 2015, bringing it to the world at large and making Charlie Brooker a long overdue household name.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and subscribe for more great content.